So this is Irish 17. I'm under Phoenix Rising 97 on YouTube. My new channel. It's first video that I'm going to be doing. I mean, I have a couple other ones on there that are just, you know, family stuff or whatever that I shot before. I'll probably be taking those down now that I'm going to start doing this. But basically, this channel is going to be about straightforward, listed out type of things, most of the time anyways. Make it very easy for some of you beginner preppers or beginner preppers out there to make it, you know, crystallize your thoughts and your goals of where you want to be or how you're going to get there, how you're going to reach those goals. So as my very first video, I'm gonna do a top 10 things that every home should have. These are the things that everything else can branch out from, pretty much. I don't know. It was just, you know, a few weeks ago, the lights in my house flickered, came back on, then died. You know, the temperature was 32 degrees outside. It was getting dark fast. I live out in the boondocks, and that happens like half a dozen times a year. I've learned to prepare myself for these little adventures in time. Travel back to the year 1794. You know, it's not so really bad, or so bad really. But anyways, what I can remember, you know, as a kid, we used to love when a thunderstorm would come and knock out the power, or when a blizzard would come and snow us in for days at a time. But, you know, back then, you know, most of us were better prepared, you know, physically, mentally, for a loss of power. You know, we lived in a different time, and I'm only talking, you know, 20 years ago. It's not that long ago. But nowadays, we are so reliant on power, on being in touch with everybody. You know, we got Facebook, we got MySpace, we got you know, YouTube, we got, you know, all these different venues of social interaction where we can friend one another and we can listen to each other, and nobody's completely alone anymore. You know, nobody's getting left to their thoughts or anything. But anyway, so what I'm getting at is, you know, I thought I'd take a little time away from the doom and gloom, surviving the end of the world scenarios. That, you know, I know there's a lot of those out there on YouTube, a lot of those types of videos and channels and stuff. But I would just look right here for this video, you know, at short-term survival. Just for this purpose of this list right here, and creating a scenario, thinking like a 3-day power loss. You're going to have a loss of emergency services such as ambulance, fire, and police. Maybe they're still functioning, but maybe you don't have, you know, as good a access to them. Maybe because they're being, you know, overworked as it is. I know some of you hardcore preppers, this will be boring you with the basics, but, you know, just please humor me and pass this article on to your friends, or this video anyways, on to your friends and loved ones maybe, who are just beginning the road to self-sufficiency, or anybody that you've met that has, you know, maybe a tendency that they could be converted to this this type of thinking. I mean, it's a good starting point and can help them get up to speed. Let's see. So guns, obviously, first thing. Personal protection is always at the top of my list, whether it's long or short term. Since even in good times, a bad guy can take me out in seconds. Every home, I think, should have at least one of the following, one of each of the following. a shotgun, most commonly a simple 12 gauge pump action, or a 12 gauge if, you know, weaker stature people are going to be using it. You can almost guarantee that the most terrifying thing that could go through a criminal's mind is just having heard the sound of a shotgun getting, you know, a shot shell getting put into place, ready to be put into their chest. They're going to be leaving your property pretty quick. Pistol, if you live in a state where it's legal to own or carry a pistol, which is practically everywhere now, 48, maybe in 49 states. I think Chicago is holding out, but and New York's trying to get rid of pistols again. Bloomberg's an idiot, but anyways, enough of that talk. Anyway, so you should always be carrying a pistol anyways, just for self-defense. You carry it. If you're not used to it, you carry it, you get used to it. Next thing, battle rifle. And I mean, I'm talking those mean, state-of-the-art, misnamed assault rifles. I mean, mine's a 223. I make no excuses for it. It's accurate out to long distances, accepts a 30-round magazine, and puts out a high rate of suppressive fire. And it's freaking darn accurate. Along with this, make sure you have plenty of ammo. I mean, we're talking thousands of rounds. No one ever came out of a firefight saying, darn, I wish I'd had fewer bullets, you know. So anyways, number 2, water. Most experts agree you'll need at least a gallon a day per person. I am the king of overkill, so I drove a hand pump well in my yard. It's 70 feet deep. It gives me an unlimited supply of fresh water, even when the power goes out. If you live in the city, keep bottled water and pure water purifying tablets. Chlorine bleach works as well. There's other stuff you can get, like Pool Shock and things like that, where you can get a box of Pool Shock, and you could purify thousands of gallons, like 10,000 gallons with a box of Pool Shock. Cost you like $10 for a box of that. Okay, so heat. For you southern folk, this isn't a big deal, but here in Utah, 6 months of the year, we got 6 inches of snow, or more months. This past winter was pretty bad, and you know it's 24 degrees outside or less. You know, it gets pretty cold. Get a wood stove. You can heat with it. You can cook with it when the power goes out. You can also use, you know, propane stoves, kerosene heaters, space heaters, or, you know, pellet stoves. If you have a generator, that is. The important thing is everything is used properly and is safely ventilated. That's very important. You don't want to be killing yourself. Food. I eat like a king when the power goes out because I practice it all the time. City dwellers may not think that luxury, or may not have that luxury, so keep a combination of canned and dried ready-to-eat meals in a safe place. Store 3 times what you think you're going to need for a 3-day period. That's 27 meals per person. Here's a hint. Don't depend on frozen food to stay frozen without power. Store shelves will be bare. Okay? 5, medical supplies. A basic, well-stocked first aid kit is a must. I don't know, but you know, more important than that are the prescription meds your family depends on. For example, are you a diabetic? Store up all the meds you'll need to keep your family alive and comfortable. Okay? Power and lights. You know, a good, and this is going to change upon the scenario upon which you find yourself in. I know a lot of preppers are, you know, all about being quiet and stuff like that. This, you know, when you're surviving in place, you don't want people to hear your generator. Everybody's going to know that you have power. But at the same time, have a good, reliable gas generator. It's going to make your life more comfortable and take you from the year 1794 back to now. Okay? But you'll need a 3-day supply of fuel. Buy the largest generator you can afford and is practical for you. Flashlights with extra rechargeable batteries are better than open flames as a light source, obviously. Fire can be pretty dangerous sometimes. And you're going to need more than one flashlight per person, most likely. Communications, make sure you have a cell phone, CB radio, or family service radio, with which you can, call out on should you have an medical emergency. They're going to have people listening to the radios in these types of situations. You also need communication coming in, so to hear what's going on and stuff. If there's going to be supplies coming in, and I'm not saying depend on FEMA or anything like that, but when you're getting low on supplies, let's say you don't want to become that person that's stealing from your neighbor if you can help it, right? And most likely, I mean, nowadays you wouldn't guess this from all the media and everything like that, but most Americans are going to be helping each other out, so this isn't too big of a deal right at the beginning, but maybe later on that could change. Have a reliable hand crank radio or regular radio receiver with extra batteries, so you can get some intel on your local news channel, basically. On transportation, if the 3-day power outage turns into something longer or even indefinite, things in the city will get nasty. You're going to have to leave. Be prepared for this with a full gas tank, plus maybe a fuel reserve. A larger vehicle with extra storage space and 4-wheel drive is best. Get that 4-wheel drive, okay? Entertainment. This might sound silly to some people, but if you have ever been trapped inside a house with 4 screaming kids with nothing to do, you're going to need books and board games for your own sanity, okay? Get some cards, anyways, so if you have a generator and lots of fuel, make the whole adventure an apocalyptic movie marathon, okay? I'm talking about good family movies with like Tremors, Zombieland, Red Dawn, the basics. So anyways, last thing right down there, God, okay? No home should be without God, especially in a time of emergency. I know that God isn't considered a thing, but He's the ruler of all things. So I'm using Him to round out my list of 10 things every home should have for short-term survival. One final word, I would, I'm putting this list together. It goes without saying that all the above mentioned things are useless if you don't know how to operate them. Set up a power outage practice weekend and make it as fun as you can for the whole family. You'll find chinks in your, preparedness armor that you never even thought were there. So anyways, this is Irish 17, Irish Prepper. Just signing out, saying thank you for watching this video. It's my first video. I know this is very basic on the blackboard, but one of my favorite TV or past TV celebrities found this and used this to great advantage. And I guess this is kind of like a homage to him. So using a blackboard like this, so low tech, but you have it listed out in front of you, and you should be able to write these things down pretty quick and take each one of those and branch out from there. And when you do this stuff, when you're getting things out there, and we'll talk about things like this later in more detail, but always have things that are going to be able to be used for 2 different things. Okay, more than one purpose, basically. Okay, so this is Irish Prepper signing out, and you guys have a nice night.